Good evening, Facebook. It is Worth It Wednesday, and I am so excited to be on here. Listen, I want you all to like, share, tag, invite anybody you may believe may need to hear a word, may need to hear something that's going to help elevate them, get them to that next level. I tell you, God has a plan for your life, and His plan for your life is to prosper you in every area of your life. Listen, I'm not going to be before you long, but I did want to come on here and I did want to encourage someone. I did want to give someone some nuggets to get them through the rest of this week and possibly through the rest of this month and maybe even through the rest of this year. Listen, if something that I say resonates with you, I want you to hit that heart. I want you to hit that like button. Listen, today I'm going to be talking about approach with greater intent. I know that we all intend to do something great in our lives. I know that we all intend to have a certain amount of money that we want in our bank accounts. I know that we intend to live a healthy and prosperous life. I know that we intend to grow and have a long life. We know that we intend to do great things and show people who we are, what we can do, what it is that's on the inside of us to get the things that God put in us out. I know that we intend to not live in mediocrity, have a mindset of just less than. But here, let me tell you something. If you want to live with financial freedom, if you want to live the healthy life that you intended, if you want to have the relationships that you want to have, and those relationships sustain, then you may have to approach with greater intent. Let me tell you something. Sometimes we have to look into ourselves and we have to look at where we are. We have to look at what we do and we have to look at how we think, because if we don't approach with a greater intent, we'll never get all that is possible in our lives. We'll never reach the maximum, the altitude, the aptitude of which God would have us to do, have us to be, have us to go, have us to truly reach. Why? Because we only do the bare minimum. But I'm telling you, if you approach with greater intent in your relationships, if you approach with greater intent in your health, if you approach with greater intent in your finance, if you approach with greater intent in the things in which will get you to where you want to be, if you would just think outside of the box and understand that there is something great on the inside of you, if you would just push, because there is a purpose for your life, and if you just understand your purpose, then you'll walk with it and you'll approach it with a greater intent. Why? Because you know that you don't want to leave this earth with something on the inside of you not being fulfilled, not being maintained, not being obtained. You want to live your life in a greater capacity. The only way that you can do that if you approach with a greater intent. Why would you approach with a greater intent, with a greater mindset, with a greater thought process? Why would you do that? So that you can get all that God would have for you. We have provision, but if you don't understand that there's a greater intent behind that thing, then you will never reach that aptitude. You will never reach the elevation in which God will want for you. I'm telling you, let me tell you something. There's a different approach. I'll give you an example. If you're dating someone and you just want to get with them, then there's a specific approach that you would take. But let me tell you something. If you're looking specifically for marriage, then there is a greater approach. Let me say there's an approach that is greater, with a greater intent that is needed in order for marriage to happen. Why? Because now the intent is greater. Why? The intent is now going to last longer. It is going to be something that will sustain you for the rest of your life. So if you want something to sustain you for the rest of your life, then you've got to understand, you've got to approach with a greater intent. Listen to me, you are worth it. In order for you to reach the goals and the dreams and the desires and the passions of your life for your life, then you'll understand what I'm saying to you is true. You've got to approach this thing with greater intent, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. There is something on the inside of you that can push you, pull you, propel you to where you are truly supposed to be. And if you don't understand, you've got to learn to approach it with greater intent so you can have a fulfilled life. Have a life of freedom. Have a life that's worth living. Not just existing, but living with maximum capacity. And let me tell you something you've got to understand. Before I leave you on today, I want you to get this, because there is something that will hit your spirit, that will get you ignited right here if you just learn to approach with greater intent. Facebook, I love you, and I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. You enjoy the rest of your Worth It Wednesday.